Hey, friends, welcome to Think Kingdom, where I teach you how to think differently, to retrain your brain to think like a royal. And today we are talking about a topic that a lot of people talk about. It's a very controversial topic. It is a topic that is also somewhat misguided and misled, misdefined. That's right, guys. We are talking about purpose, and we're not just talking about any kind of purpose. We are talking about your ultimate kingdom purpose. So, over the next 45 minutes, we're going to be talking about the top three myths about purpose that leave us confused, and it leaves us kind of in an analysis paralysis, so to speak. So we are debunking the top three myths about purpose, and let's check it out, see if you know or have heard any of these myths and where these myths came from and how can we move past these myths. So I'm Carrie Roberts. I am your Kingdom Purpose Coach, and I help Gen Z just kind of stop wasting time, find their purpose, and fulfill it. So I help you find your purpose, develop a lot of the purpose that you have for your life, and then I help you execute it. So let's get started. It's royalty time. Okay, guys. So here's what's on the agenda today. I'm going to give you a little context for the concept of purpose, because if you don't have the right definition of purpose, or it doesn't mirror my definition of purpose, then it's going to be really hard to understand the concepts and the principles that I'm teaching here in today's class. So I'm going to give you a little context behind what do I mean by purpose. And then we're going to do a crown check in, and that is going to just tell you what is your readiness to reign. We are starting to think differently. We are starting to think in a kingdom context, in kingdom principles. And so, what is your readiness to reign if you were to be given your purpose right now? And then we're going to talk all about the three myths. This is the bread and butter, everybody. This is the meat and potatoes of the top three myths about your purpose. And we're going to be debunking that. And in that, we're going to define purpose. We are going to talk about your UKP. In this session, I'm going to be talking a lot about a UKP. So that little So, UKP is ultimate kingdom purpose. So, I'm going to talk a lot about the UKP, but that's the definition. And we're going to talk about God's purpose. What is God's purpose for you and God's purpose for humanity? And then who is waiting for you to discover your UKP? And the hint is you are not the only one. And just some encouragement for you today. And then also, we'll have announcements, but something along the lines of what's going to be coming up here for the future. So wonderful. Let's get started. Okay, guys. So throughout the Bible, it is no surprise, and I think that there is a consensus without any debate, this idea of predestination that's in the Bible. So in the Old and the New Testament, God has a direct personal relationship with his people, and he encounters his people on an individual level, every member of humanity. And so, this predestination, well, what does predestination mean? It means pre is before, and destination means that you are really going to a location and a place and time. So predestination means before the foundations of the world, or before everything was even created, God predestined you and chose you to do something that is individual for your destiny. So we see this in the Old Testament in Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, to bring you a hope and a future." And then in the New Testament, Ephesians 1 says that God chose us in Christ before the foundations of the world. So for I know the plans that I have for you to bring you a hope and a future. And then being chosen before the foundations of the world. That means, and that tells us that you were an idea to God, that you were just not something that just developed over time, but that you were predestined, that before the foundations of the world began, that you were an idea in God's thought. So, also, what I mean by purpose is in the context that every human desires and wants five things in life. And that is to know, who am I? Where am I from? Why am I here? Where am I going? And what is my purpose? Now, there is some debate about predestination in that, well, God gives us free will. So, Carrie, what about free will? If we have free will and I can just do whatever I want, then how did God choose me and predestine me if He knew? Now, guys, that is something that is definitely controversial. And that is something that we're not going to debate in this class. In my book, Born to Reign, I do have a section that talks about in a kingdom, all kings must be sovereign. So if God made us in his image, then we also have to have sovereignty and free will in order to be kings. So in my book, Born to Reign, it's going to tell you a little bit of that and why that God gave us free will in this kingdom context, in this kingdom setup. But for now, we're going to go with this consensus that we all know that we have a predestined destiny and something that is specific to you that God wanted you in the world for. So, yeah, we're going to be discussing these 5 questions. So awesome. Here is the crown check in. What is your readiness to reign? And what I mean by that is, what is the level at which you are ready to carry out your purpose? If you were to know your purpose, the exact purpose that God has for you, would you be able to carry that out into full fruition as of right now in time? So, what I want you to do is, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine that you're sitting in your room and you're relaxing. You're doing whatever you do to relax, reading a book, coloring, journaling, whatever that may be. And as you're doing that, suddenly Jesus enters your room. And just take that in for a little bit. And you notice that he walks up to you and he's holding something in your hand. And you instinctively know in your heart, in your mind, that it's a crown. It is your crown. And guys, this is not just any crown. This is the crown that has the gemstones that you would pick out. It has the colors. It has the inflection that you would pick out. This is your crown that you would pick out for yourself, and actually something that you would be better for yourself than even you could pick out. And he tells you, he turns that crown around, and on the inside of the crown, it has your name. It has your address. It has who you were born to, who your biological family and who your parents were. And it has engraved also at the bottom your intent in life, your exact ultimate kingdom purpose. And he says, "Are you ready to take the crown?" And I want you just to think about that moment and pause, just the magnitude of that question. Does it scare you? Does it excite you? Do you reach out and take that crown immediately? Do you step back a little bit because you don't really quite understand what that means? Are you a little bit unknown? Do you say yes? Do you say no? Do you say maybe? All of those questions kind of come into your mind as you are trying to think about this question. And you would say, well, Carrie, I don't even know what my purpose is. How do I know that I can take it and that I can actually live in it to my fullest extent? And I would say, You're right. You're exactly right. So, the crown check in full truth, let me tell you guys, your readiness to reign in your purpose is directly proportional to the knowledge, the understanding, and the application of your kingdom identity. If you don't know your kingdom identity, it's going to be really hard to understand on if you can fulfill that in your to fruition. If you don't know what your purpose is, it is highly likely that you don't fully grasp the magnitude of your identity, and not just any identity, but specifically a kingdom identity. If you are taking a crown, what does that crown mean? What is the heaviness or the lightness to that crown? Meaning, you can't step into being a queen until you learn how to be a queen in waiting first. And some of these really fun examples that I have here on this slide is The Princess Diaries. I know some of you have seen this movie if you're around my age, or if you're a little bit younger, that's okay. I want you to go back and watch these movies. These were like the quintessential Disney princess theme movies that we all saw 10 to 15 years ago. But in this particular movie, you have Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews. And what happens in this movie is that Anne Hathaway's character has just discovered that she is a long lost heir of this queen of Genovia. And unfortunately, the queen doesn't have an heir to extend the reign of this kingdom. And so she has gone out in here into America, and she has um gone to essentially this biological granddaughter that she has never seen before in her life. And you know what, guys? Did she just give her a crown? No, she didn't. We go through, I mean, that is the whole part of the movie. That's the exciting part of the movie, is where she goes through this process of learning how to reign, learning how to be a queen, learning how to walk, learning how to do protocols, learning principles, learning how to change her appearance, learning how to be exactly what she needs to be to take the crown and to lead. So, if you haven't seen that movie, definitely go. The second example I have here is of Princess Kate, and she has done a magnificent job representing and being an ambassador of the kingdom, of her kingdom there in the UK. And when she was dating Prince William, did she know that she was going to just automatically be queen? No, she did not. She has gone through a process, and even she goes through the process now, because there is a difference between what we call a queen consort and a queen in waiting. A queen in waiting is someone who knows that they are going to lead in a queen capacity, but they're not yet in that full place of position. So, a queen in waiting is essentially training and developing into that lead role and that place of position until the death of the king or the queen, and going into that role. So, a lot of knowing and understanding kingdom concepts, kingdom rule, kingdom authority, you have to understand the final truth. And that is, you cannot step into your ultimate kingdom purpose until you know who you are in the kingdom of heaven. If you do not know your identity, you have no authority. And if you have no authority, you have no purpose. If you don't know and understand what your purpose is, then you're going to see no results in your life. So, this kingdom identity is solving the identity crisis that we have here in society today. Um, the reason that you're seeing really no results, or not the results that you're quite expecting, is because you need a framework in your mind of a kingdom and its identity and culture. And before Jesus hands you a crown, he will always hand you an identity first. Your readiness to reign and take the throne of your purpose will always begin with your kingdom identity, which is who you were originally created to be, you guys, and the culture that you were born from, too, as well. And in that, purpose is the driver to kingdom culture. Right now, there is a lot of confusion in society. There's a lot of what I call, well, my mentor, Myron Golden, he calls it lie-identity, right? We have all of these identities that society tells us we are, or ideas tell us we are, and we don't have a full grasp of our kingdom identity and our true identity. So we are just walking around with no identity at all in this identity crisis, so to speak. So purpose is going to be affected because we have a lot of lie identities going around. We have a lot of um, misunderstandings about who we are, or we have no clue who we are at all. So until we understand that we are God's and God is a king, therefore we are a part of this kingdom culture and kingdom life and kingdom reign, it's going to be really, really hard unless we know our kingdom identity. So, with that, let's go right in to the top 3 myths because we're going to talk about purpose. And, there's a lot of misunderstanding. So, let's debunk it. So, the top 3 myths about purpose is that it leaves us confused. It leaves us paralyzed. It leaves us stuck in this kind of analysis paralysis. It keeps us kind of deep in the mud in a lot of limited beliefs. A lot of these limited beliefs are from what we experience in our society, what we watch, what we listen to, what we agree with. It also comes from just being stagnant in older generational beliefs too as well, a lot of traditional beliefs that we have come to know through our family and through our culture and things of that such. So some of these myths, yes, guys, you have heard on social media. You might even heard them in the academia if you go to college, go to school. And I hate to say it, that you have even heard this inside of your church, inside of your temple, inside of the religion that you grew up with. So let's face it, guys, we have been out here listening to a lot of different voices. Every time we turn on TikTok, every time we turn on the news, every time we listen to our phones, we're out here listening to a lot of people and traditions and teachers and thought leaders. But God, but have we been listening to God, so to speak? Have we been listening to the King of the universe, and the King is Jesus Christ. He's the King of the kingdom. So let's talk about these myths. So, myth number 3, your purpose is your dream job. Your purpose is your dream job. That is the number 3 myth. And it is the myth that I call the dream job scam. And we get this myth from world systems of education and academia, um, that these will state that you will be fulfilled if you just had your dream job. If you had your dream career, then everything will be fine. You will climb the ladder, and that's why I have a picture of a ladder here. You're climbing that corporate ladder. You having your dream job, and this is what is going to fulfill your purpose. This is the purpose of life, is to have your dream job. And guys, that's a scam because your dream job can change over time. You can be a designer one day and then an engineer the next. You might go from finance to fashion. You might go from marketing to law. I mean, there's so many things that can change because our consumer production changes. What we consume on a daily basis, our technology is changing. So, guys, your career path can shift. And here is the one thing I know about academia and college and going to school is that you can declare a major, but guys, the results the data is there that your major can change like 3 times within a year. That you go for one major and then you change it to another and then you change it to another because you're undecided or you're just undecided. You don't even declare a major. And so, guys, that can happen. Your life is going to change. Things are going to happen, and it's not always going to be the dream job, and that's okay. You can also be in your dream job like me, and you can get laid off. Guys, I was laid off 3 different times. So your dream job is not something that is should be a source of life for you or fulfillment or for purpose. Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but the Lord's purpose will prevail." So you can have all the plans. You can have your SAT plan, your graduation plan. You can have your college plan. You can have your career plan. You can have your retirement and death plan. So you might have all of these plans in the world scheduled out. But guys, God is not trying to chase your 5-year plan. He is calling you to discover a royal assignment that He anointed you for before the foundations of the world began. And as long as we are aligned to the King's purpose, sometimes our plans are going to change. It's going to be going off the rails, or it's going to go here, it's going to go there. But your ultimate kingdom purpose will never shift. Your ultimate kingdom purpose will never shift. That is something they could lay you off for. They can get rid of you. You could have something happen and you can't do your job anymore, guys. There's all different things, but your ultimate kingdom purpose will never shift. Okay. Myth number 2: purpose doesn't exist. Purpose doesn't exist. Guys, that is false. This is what I call the mysterious there and then. And I kind of put a little picture of, you're going up to the pearly gates of heaven, and that's when you're going to find your purpose. We get this mysterious there and then on purpose. We get this from a lot of teachers and traditions. We get this a lot of thought gurus and social cliches that, we're going to chase your dreams. Well, who wants to chase? I don't want to chase a dream. I want to know it and I want to fulfill it. Or somebody says, your purpose is to follow your heart. Well, you know what I say to that? I'm Southern. I'm going to say, bless your little heart to that. Because, guys, sometimes our heart deceives us. Sometimes our heart thinks that we want one thing and it's not good for us. So we don't need to follow our hearts. Or we have a lot of people out there, a lot and I can say too, I grew up in the church. You are meant for heaven. But what I say to that is, what about now? And this mysterious there and then means either it doesn't exist, that you're not going to find your purpose now in the earth, but you're going to find your purpose when you die. We hear a lot of this, especially in the church, you guys, or in faith-based environments, that somehow your purpose has been relocated to another event in time, like after your death, when you get to heaven, so that your purpose is really not meant to be fulfilled here right now, but in the there and then. And guys, I want you to know that your purpose is now and it's ready to be discovered. And sometimes that we also see this purpose as like a mass evacuation event. Like once we get out of here and we leave this earth and we're all in heaven or wherever the case may be, we're sitting on clouds, whatever that they tell us, that purpose is a evacuation event. When you get to heaven, then that's when you're really going to find it. And guys, that's not. I want to read you in Jeremiah 1:4-10. And guys, this is the Gen Z purpose scripture. This is for Gen Z. If you have a Gen Z child or someone that you know, I would really encourage them with this particular scripture. It says, "I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and I appointed you as my prophet to the nations." And Jeremiah says, "Oh, sovereign Lord, I said I can't speak for you. I am too young." But the Lord replied, "Don't say I'm too young, for you must go wherever I send you and say whatever I tell you. And don't be afraid of the people, for I will be with you and will protect you. I, the Lord, have spoken." Then the Lord reached out and touched my mouth and said, "Look, I have put my words in your mouth. Today, I appoint you to stand up against nations and against kingdoms. Some you must uproot and tear down and destroy, and others you need to overthrow. But others you must build up and you must plant. So, guys, that is so powerful because it shows that number one, your purpose was appointed before you were in your mother's womb, before you were being developed in your mother's womb. God knew you and wanted you to carry out a purpose. Number two, it says that it's for here and now, that you actually must go and say what God wants you to say and do what He wants you to do. He wants you to go and destroy ideas and things that need to be destroyed that are not of Him, and to build and plant things that are of Him. Now, does this mean that you're going to go and create violence? No, it does not. It means that you're going to tear down ideas that do not align to the kingdom of heaven. And it means that you're going to plant ideas and behaviors that align to the kingdom of heaven. That's what that means. So, guys, the fact that you're breathing means that you have a royal assignment and that you are destined and anointed to do things right here and right now. Okay, now let's go to myth number one. Let's see if you can guess it. So, myth number one, purpose is hard to discover. We hooked this up to the lie detector test and it did not pass. It says this was a lie. So, purpose is hard to discover. That is not the truth. And this is the myth that I call the needle in the haystack. And guys, this one right here, this myth is the most sinister because it keeps you in this perpetual depression and discouragement and anxiety. And what that means is that it essentially says, oh, you have a purpose, it exists, but you got to go out there and find it. Seriously? This is going to keep you in discouragement and perpetual anxiety too, as well, because it's like you have to go find a needle in a haystack. I mean, we might as well send you guys in the barn with, 3 loads of hay to look for one needle. I mean, you're probably going to find it faster if you just go to a barn and do it. I mean, this is what I call the most sinister. It is the biggest lie out of all of the three myths because it engrosses you with distractions. It says, well, you just got to go out and find it and discover it. And if you do, then great. If you don't, you're essentially missing God somehow. It basically says, like, you got to go on this wild goose hunt, this wild goose chase, chasing the American dream, chasing things, chasing money, chasing cars, chasing, the mortgage, chasing the dream job, chasing the RV, chasing the travel. You've got to just go out and do all of these things. But guys, this is a lie from the pit of hell that you cannot find your purpose. And here is the two things that you need to do to stop chasing. And that is that purpose isn't hard to discover when you ask the right source. Okay? Purpose isn't hard to discover when you ask the right source. And purpose isn't hard, it's just been misdefined. So Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose." We always really stop at, God works for the good for those who love him, and we kind of stop right there, but we need to keep going. That who have been called according to his purpose. And we know that if you are not the right path, if you are not feeling like, oh, this is going to be something that's going to help me find my purpose, it's going to be okay. Because if you align your plans with God's purpose, you're not going to go wrong. But number one, we have to stop chasing by asking the right source what our purpose is. And we need to define it. So here we go. What is purpose? Purpose means original intent. Guys, this is the AKA, this is the OG. So, this is the first ever created. It means original intent, the original meaning of why you were created in the first place. It means you're the OG of a specific, unique intent. And here's an example that I have of a creator, a producer, kind of this product manufacturing kind of example. And so, guys, we are all on our phones right now. We all have iPhones or some kind of a smartphone. And Steve Jobs created the iPhone because he wanted to incorporate a phone communication device with a television so we can watch something, and then he wanted to merge it with a computer and to get knowledge from. So he wanted a more convenient product that is going to incorporate all three. And guys, Steve Jobs just didn't create the iPhone out of nowhere and it just popped out into existence. No. He had the idea first because he wanted to solve a problem. And so he set out to have this idea that he was going to create and produce something that incorporated three things to solve problems. And whenever you get an iPhone or whether you get a product, I don't care what product it is, you can get a product on Amazon for all I care. And when you get that product in the mail, it comes with an instruction manual. And in that instruction manual, it says exactly why the product was created. It shows who created the product, where the product is from, who manufactured it. It has how the product is going to work if you put it together the right way. It also has a guarantee that if this product is not suited to your liking, or if this product breaks, you can send this product back to its creator and it will fix it. Guys, every time we have an instruction manual, and I'm like the first to be guilty of this, is I throw the instruction manual in the trash. I mean, here, who here actually does instruction manuals? Um, and that's what I wanted to kind of say is because we don't understand sometimes who our source of life is. So we have to go back to who had the idea of us in the beginning. And that is who our source is. That's where we find our purpose. And that's where we find out our original intent. So our source is God, who can tell us our ultimate kingdom purpose. And it does. It tells us right in Genesis 1:26 in the Bible. And so God made us in his image with a spirit, a soul, and a body. He had the idea of us and he wanted us to rule and to reign. And he created this instruction manual. And at the very beginning of the instruction manual, in Genesis 1:26, it has what humanity's purpose is. It has what your purpose is. And it says, "Let us make man in our image and in our likeness, and let them have dominion." So God created you to have dominion over an area in life with your gifts, your voice, your personality, and your calling. Okay? Let us have dominion. And God created you to reign, to rule, to lead, to administrate his kingdom of heaven on earth. And that's what I call an ultimate kingdom purpose. It is you are the OG of a specific, unique intent, rule, and territory, area of expertise, the domain, a queen of a scene, so to speak. And that is what you were created to do. That is what I call a unique kingdom, an ultimate kingdom purpose. So, an ultimate kingdom purpose is a unique royal assignment that you must fulfill within your lifetime, and it solves a problem for others. So, just like you have a unique imprint or a footprint or an eye scan or a finger scan, and guys, we have a lot of these like eye scans that are out there right now where they just like scan your eye. I mean, it is your own personal DNA. That is exactly what a UKP is. It is your own personal, unique, and ultimate kingdom purpose. So you were meant to reign, not just go to work. You were meant to build, not just survive paycheck to paycheck. And you were meant to lead, not just follow what everybody's doing and what fad is of the time. So you have a unique royal responsibility that the king has given you. And there is no competition for it, because there's no one else like you that has your mind, that has your expertise, that has your wisdom, that has all of the experiences that you have had in life. And no one else can do it like you, because there is no one out there that's exactly like you. So you were created. And here's this secret, is that you are not the only one that is waiting for you to discover and know your ultimate kingdom purpose. Romans 8:19 says that all of creation is waiting with eager expectations, means that they are groaning for the children of God to be revealed. And that is what this means. That means that, guys, the animals, the creation, the plants, the air, I mean, everything in this world is waiting for you to discover your ultimate kingdom purpose. It is waiting for you to discover the kingdom of heaven and what that means. And this means that it's just not about you, that your ultimate kingdom purpose is not just about you. It is about the world. It is about transforming the world. It is about transforming you, yourself, your community, your family, your nation. It means that all of creation and the people that you are ready to serve, that you can solve a problem for, is waiting for your ultimate kingdom purpose. So, what I want you to do is I want you to go back in to that room where Jesus has that crown handing out to you. And what I want you to do is I want you to say yes. Yes, I am going to lead. I'm going to reign. I'm going to find my ultimate kingdom purpose. I'm going to fulfill it. Because, guys, once you understand the kingdom of heaven, your identity, and that is something that you're going to have to discover first, is you can't get the crown without having that kingdom identity. You're going to hunger, you're going to learn, and I just want to encourage you that it's not hard to find. And I'm Carrie Roberts. Obviously, this is Think Kingdom, where I am going to train you on how to think royal when it comes to the kingdom of heaven. And I'm here to really connect you to your ultimate kingdom purpose. So, my ultimate kingdom purpose is to help connect you to yours. And this means that I'm going to help you retrain your brain to think of what a kingdom is, and especially the kingdom of heaven. And how does the kingdom of heaven function? How is that different from the physical kingdoms that we have here on the earth? What does that mean for the marketplace, for the system? What does that mean for your finances? What does that mean for your college, your career? All of those different pathways. I'm going to help you discover your ultimate kingdom purpose so you are not second guessing yourself in this path and journey on life. Will there be times that you're out of control, that you feel like you don't know what you're doing? Yes. But what I'm here to help you and coach you in is to move past that and to really find, develop, and execute, and really teach you the kingdom of heaven as much as I can. So, that is the first session here. I want you to really think kingdom. And what that means is I want you to crack open that Bible. I want you to crack open that manual. And I want you to start reading and putting a kingdom lens, a kingdom identity lens. And then what I want you to do is listen to me. I also have Royalty Time, which is on my Facebook Live. If you join the Facebook group called Born to Reign, and I will come Facebook Live every Wednesday at Central Standard Time. And I'm just going to train you guys. You can watch more videos here on YouTube too as well. But I'm super excited that I am your kingdom purpose coach, and what this content is going to do for your life. It's going to have you stop second guessing yourself. It's going to be where you're going to be in the ultimate kind of arena of expertise, that you're going to lead and be the authority in that domain. And then you're going to understand the full Bible, because the kingdom is going to come out on every single page. So I'm excited. I thank you for watching this first session, and we'll have more sessions and more videos for you to do soon. Okay, thanks so much, and bye for now.